Welcome back to Create Craft Costume, where we think creating is as close to magic as we are gonna get. And I hope the first thing you notice is that we're in a new filming situation. We have new set, new mics. That is all thanks to Cheryl. This was her idea, and I just very willingly went along with it. So, because of that, Halloween kind of got away from us. So this will be our only Halloween video this year. However, it is still very applicable, and it was the first time we got to use our new setup. So what are we gonna make?
So today we have taken a purchased costume that we are going to spiff up a little bit. So it makes it a little bit different than the other costumes that you will see the girls going around on. For a couple of reasons. There's some safety issues, some just beautification issues, but at any rate, this is what we're gonna do. It takes about an hour, used a little bit of hot glue, a little bit of ribbon, and some acrylic gems. And we've got it all spiffed up.
The other real bonus about this is she's serious when we say there are very minimal additional items that you need to really increase the silhouette and functionality of a store-bought costume.
Exactly. One reminder, the tips that we're showing you today can be applied to any dress, not just a frozen dress. Any dress, any costume, basic skills. So we'll see you in the sewing room.
Oh yeah, because we can say that now. Oh!
Hello friends, we are going to talk about doing some improvements on a princess dress. This is Princess Elsa. Most princess dresses look pretty much like this, so you can do these adjustments on any princess dress. We're going to look at three areas. We're going to look at the waist, right here. We're going to look at the skirt, the bottom of the skirt, and any accessories that come with it. The reason we're going to do this are four. First one is for the fit. The second one, is this going to be functional for her to wear? It's going to be safe for her to wear, and then when we spiffy it up, she will stand out from the other princesses wearing the same dress. So those are the reasons we're doing this. So the first thing we're going to do is look at the waist. Now most dresses will have some elastic at the back, which is great, but if you have a skinny little mini for a princess, sometimes they're big because smart parents usually buy their dresses, their costumes a little bit big, so they can wear them for more than one night. So we're going to put some ribbon on either side of this as a tie, and then we can cinch it up at the back so it will fit her and it will fit around her waist, stay tight if she's going to go trick-or-treating or just prancing around the house. So that's the first thing we're going to do. The second thing is we're going to embellish this skirt a little bit with these gems. I'm sure you've seen them around. You probably have some lying around. These little gems. We're just going to hot glue them down here at the bottom of the dress. Just to spiffy that up just a little bit for this dress. These come in a million colors, and we're just going to hot glue them on the bottom of the gown like that. Now we're going to talk about the accessories. This dress came with this very long, it's beautiful, it's sparkly and pretty and beautiful, but it's a very long train. And I know my granddaughters love to run in these, and they're going to trip. So what we're going to do is we are going to alter this train so it doesn't, it's not as long as it was, and it will be a little more full, using what we bought with the costume. We're not putting anything extra into it. So, okay, the first thing we're going to do is the tie in the back. Now, this ribbon was taped to this, and because I'm picky, we're going to cut it. Can you see that? You're never going to get that mark of the tape off, ever. Just going to trim it right off like that. Toss that away. Then, because this ribbon frays, we're going to get our little lighter, and we are just going to singe the end of that ever so slightly. And now that won't fray. Then we're going to guess about how much ribbon we want to use to make a bow. I'm going to say about that much. This is very exact science. Trim that off again. Then we're going to cut another piece about the same size, and we are going to singe that end as well. And I just feel, and if you can feel that there's a little rough edge along the end, then you know that you've got that sealed. See, here's the deal. You feel the other end like this, it comes off. You can see it fray. Put on that one, it won't fray. Okay, and then the other ends of this, you can cut it however you want to cut it. I've got some extra ribbon. Let's give you some options. So this one,
especially because the first time I did this, I did it backwards.
That can happen. So this way is going to give you a pointed end on your ribbon, which is lovely, and you can do that.
But that's not what I was supposed to do.
The second time way you do it is just the opposite. Actually, you start from the end and go to the middle. This one you will see a lot, the two pointed edges. That's very popular. On little girl dresses, for some reason, I am partial to just the straight diagonal cut. And you are also going to singe this because we don't want that beautiful tail to fray out. There we go. You see, it won't. And the other end, cut that the same way. Singe that end. See, it won't fray even on that end. It's not going to fray out. Now we're going to take the straight ends, and I like to sew ribbon on like this. Even though I know it's not going to fray, we're going to pull it under just that much. And we're going to go over to the sewing machine and we are going to sew it on right there. We're going to make a stitch right there and a stitch right there. Now, if you don't want to sew, you don't have to. You can use your hot glue gun, put your hot glue right there. I would recommend putting some right there, and if it doesn't go through to this side, you probably want to glue it on the other side as well. Does that make sense to you, Ashley? You're the hot glue gun expert.
Yes.
Okay.
This is basic sewing skills. If you can, even hand stitch it on.
Yeah, hand stitch it on. It's going to look better because it will just look better. It's going to take you a couple of hand stitches or a sewing machine stitch. Okay, so we've got this ready to go in the machine. We are going to do a little finger press, which is just pinch that along the end, and then when I lay it down, it's going to stay flatter. And then we're going to put it right here. And I'm not going to sew on the knit part. This is the stretchy part. I'm going to sew on the band right here. It will be stronger. Knits tend to pull out, and we want this to be more fitted. So we're going to put it on this part, because if we do the knit, it's just going to pull that. And I want it to pull the front of the dress back so it fits tight along her little bodice. And we're just going to sew straight stitched on down, back up the other side.
Since I have seen princess dresses both ways, what if the entire top is knit? Like if it doesn't have this woven band portion, is there something that you would suggest?
Excellent question. And yes, there are a lot of dresses that are knit all the way around. In that case, you would sew on the seam. If you feel this, you can feel there's a seam allowance. You would sew right there on the seam. And then I would sew a little bit right here on the front and a little bit right there. So in that one, you would sew 3 times. So you'd get the front pulling back and the back pulling back. But I would anchor it right on the seam. You've got that right on, and as you pull that back, that's going to pull the front of the dress. It's not going to pull this, and that's singed, so it's not going to fray. And then you can tie a beautiful little bow. And I'm going to toss in something extra right here. You want to tie a bow that's going to be straight every single time. You've got your 2 hands, right ribbon, left ribbon. The right ribbon goes on the top of the cross, goes underneath. Your tie is going to be up on top. This is what makes your bow straight. It's not how you tie the loops together. This makes your bow straight. You're going to do a loop right there. You're going to bring this loop over, fold it up under there, and your bow will be straight every single time. Now, just for comparison, let me tie a bow the other way and show you. So now we're going to do it this way, left over right. We tie our bow, put that over the top. Do you like that? There's your bow. And there is no way I can pull that so as it wiggles, it will stay straight, because that one's going to be like this and this one's going to be like that. Not terrible, but not a perfect bow. The other way, right over left, underneath, like that, loop, over, loop. Perfect bow, always, regardless of whatever size you want to have it. And you can loosen it up, tighten it up, and it will be like that on her dress all night long.
I've been working with Cheryl for 3 years. Please let me know how long it takes you to master that down in the comments. Okay, now we are going to focus on embellishing the bottom with the jewels as mentioned previously. And there are a couple things that I want to consider before we get started. First of all, if you just glue them on like this does have holes in it, which means if you glue it on like this, you're going to be gluing multiple layers together, but it won't let the dress move. It also will allow for more tears and more accidents to happen. So when you are hot gluing things onto any type of tulle or netting or any other thing with holes like wicker, done that before. Silicone.
Like what?
Wicker. I don't want to know what you thought I said, but it's fine. Like wicker. Silicone is your absolute best friend. Now this is an iron mat. Doesn't matter what type of silicone it is. You can get the oven mitts from Dollar Tree. And we've decided, because we have enough gems to do this, we are going to hot glue these gems just on the front portion. And hot glue will not stick to the silicone. So you are going to glue on each gem and let it cool on this silicone portion. And a tip with hot glue, if you put a little bit out and swirl it, you get less strings. And see, right now, I can't pull this up, and it's because it hasn't cooled yet. So you're going to want to do this in stages. Okay, so right now, as you can see, this is attached to the silicone plate. So if I let it cool, I can pop this right off. And now it has that part on the back, and this is now a cool hot glue, so it will not stick to any fabric on the bottom. And we are just going to continue this down the front of the dress. The pop is the fun part. Oh, kind of sounded like a creepy Mickey there, but it's fine. So I know they make these that you can sew on. Would you recommend that for tulle? Or wouldn't that tear?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Just in case you can't hear her, she said absolutely not. And I'm guessing it's for what I just said. This is fairly fragile, so if you put thread in here and let it stretch, it's not woven. There's nothing to attach it to, so it'll just continue tearing. So while I do not advocate using hot glue all the time, it is still awesome.
Okay, now we are going to go to the last embellishment we're doing. We've got the veil ready to go. It attaches to the dress just with a little elastic in the button. So that's attached right there. This is a little bit stretchy, and I've laid this flat down like that, so we are going to adjust that. I've got the veil attached at the shoulder now, and it is laid flat down. Now, for me and my grandchildren, the princesses I have sewn for, this is way too long. It's going to get caught on the stairs or the cement or the tile floor or the carpet or the neighbor or the kids, whatever. So we are going to cut this off right at the bottom of this dress. And I'm just going to cut right across it. So it will be a little bit floaty below the bottom of the dress, but not so much that it's going to get caught on furniture or the road or the sidewalk or the stairs. So now it's going to look like that. And then this last piece, we are going to gather it up And we are going to attach it right here at the top of this. So she'll have another little piece gathered up on the elastic just like this, and I'm going to tack it right down there. So that's how this will look now. It will be a little fuller, a little more floaty for her, but still safe, so she's not going to trip herself or anyone else. And it will make the dress last a little bit longer and not get so shaggy down on the bottom of that. So that's the end result. We're going to go over to the sewing machine and sew some elastic. Now, if you don't want to sew, you don't have to. You can get a needle and thread, just go along in and out like this and tack it right up here to the top. You will get the same effect just with a needle and thread as I'm going to get on the sewing machine. So that's our next step.
Would you hot glue it? On the jewels, there was no elastic.
True.
Hot glue doesn't give. So...
Oh, you mean hot glue it all the way across the lace?
Uh-huh.
No, I definitely would not, because it will not support that kind of hot glue. No, I would not. Okay, we're over here at the sewing machine. I'm going to put this on the longest stitch I can do, which is a 5 on my machine. I'm going to sew a basting stitch along here so I can gather it up, because we are attaching it to the elastic that's on the one that's attached to the dress right now, so we don't have to have any extra materials. Now, as I said, you can do this by machine or you can do it by hand. Either way, it's the same principle. You just need a gather stitch to go across the top of this. When you do your gathering, you're going to want to leave a tail so you can finish gathering it up. And see what your gathering stitch will do. It already gathers it a little bit. We are just going to pull on the one end. And gather it up a little bit more. Like this. And then we'll go over to the dress. I always want to pull the other side as well, so I don't end up pulling it all the way out and have to start over again. And then we will attach it to the dress. Okay, so we've got our gathering stitch. I'm just going to come along. I've taken the cape off the dress. We're going to pin this right there. So we've got that side. And then I'm going to gather it up from the other side till it fits where I want it to be. You might wonder why I'm making it so it is not as tight as that elastic. It's because I'm thinking out loud as I'm doing this. Because I'm going to sew it to this elastic. So I'm going to go over it and I'm going to stretch it tight like that. So when I put it back in, it will sew in together. Because if I just leave it on the thread, that will eventually break. So I'm going to finish up these gathers a little bit, make them a little even. I'm going to pull it out again and see, yep. And that's going to fit. And then I'm going to go sew over that elastic with sewing this on, and then we'll attach it back to the dress. And if you're doing this by hand, I would stretch it out like this and just do an overcast stitch so you attach this to this elastic. So you can still do it by hand. You're going to get the same result.
Yes.
Okay, so now I'm putting it on a zigzag. And I'm going to put it on a wide zigzag and a long zigzag. Because I don't need it to be really secure. I just want to hold the two together. And then I'm probably going to just go along and pull this out and lay that right where the elastic is. That way the elastic will still stretch and this will still work.
So you're only pulling the bottom layer.
I'm only pulling the bottom layer of the lace of the tulle, and I'm trying to get all these little edges up right here. And now I'm going to reach through on the other side and just pull it ever so gently so I can make sure I can get that elastic to go through here. Because when I'm pulling the other way, it doesn't always want to. And I'm going to be really honest, it doesn't really matter if these are really super even, because when it's all gathered up and it's hanging down her little back, it's going to be just a darling. Now feel free, if you're doing this, to stretch it out when you start and put some pins along the way. That is totally fine. Put some pins in this, and then as you go, Okay, now we're back to the other end. I just want to make sure I don't sew over that loop because that's where it's going to tie on to the other one. This will still give us the stretch we need. We're going to go hang it on the little dress. So let's go see how it looks.
Okay, I think this project is super cool for a couple reasons. And one is that some of the additions that we made had added benefits that I didn't think about. So for example, the acrylic gems at the base of the skirt add a weight to the skirt that help it lay better. So it is flatter, it holds the weight, and it's not going to curl up under itself like it had been previously. Another added benefit was the double cape in the back wraps around the front and gives it just a much more regal silhouette, but it also gives it that regal silhouette in the back without losing the details on the skirt. And I particularly enjoy that we got a better silhouette and we didn't add anything. We just readjusted the material that already came with the costume.
My favorite thing about this adorable little gown is the bow in the back. I am old school and little girls need bows in the back, not only because they're cute as can be, but it keeps that secure right around her waist. So if she should happen to step on the skirt, it's not going to pull it down. Because this was such an easy project, this took maybe an hour. Hot glue on some gems, sew on the little ribbon, trim off the cape and put it onto the elastic. Minimal effort, very easy to do, and it makes a huge difference in an off-the-rack dress. And any little princess would love it. So, wasn't that spinning cool? I thought it was so cool. I have to admit, I thought it was great.
This is brought to you by Cheryl's new space. It's great. We did not have room to do that previously, so I was really excited to show that off.
So if you have a little princess that was doing some spinning of her own, we'd love to see how you have improved your little one's dresses or costumes. It would be fun to see. So
absolutely.
As they're spinning around, send us a shot, send us a comment. We'd love to see what you guys are doing.
And you can either share in the comment below, or don't forget, you can send us pictures or videos on our Instagram.
Awesome.
Please don't forget, while you are showing off your costumes, again, this does not just have to stick with Frozen. Most costumes are always going to have those 3 areas you can improve. We improved the waist, the bottom, and then any accessories that they might have. So just make sure you're looking for those. As I said, Halloween kind of got away from us. So this was not the only Halloween video that we had planned. So please make sure to subscribe for next year, because I promise we have a lot more enjoyable, faster tips. I just couldn't edit fast enough. So that's how that worked out. But we will be sure to share them on our channel. We're just gonna wait until the SEO is a little bit more favorable.
What is an SEO?
SEO is most people are not searching for Halloween costumes outside of Halloween. So I don't want to share it.
I told you she was the techie one.
I don't want to share it on November because it'll kind of kill our reach.
Got it. Okay, good tip, good to know.
Doesn't mean that the information won't be valuable later. So just wait for that a little bit next year. And now, yes, this was our only Halloween video, but Christmas is coming and I am just as much of a Christmas fiend as it is Halloween. So please make sure to subscribe, follow any of our channels to help make sure that you know when we post, and we will see you in our next video.
Happy Halloween from Create Cracker Costume. Have a wonderful holiday.
Yes, that too. And a safe one, since your costume's now better.